More than I need, what you want, girl, it's yours. Give me your feelings, I just can't ignore. 'Cause all I want is you, baby. Give me your time, all your love, I've been patient.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Russell the Fourth.
Hey everybody, it's me, Brandy.
And welcome back to another episode of the What They Never Told Us podcast, and Happy New Year 2023. What They Never Told Us taking over for the 99 in the 2023. You like that? You don't like it at all? You a hater. It's in your blood. So it is a new year. Hope everybody year is off to a wonderful start. Very excited for everything that's in store and everything that's going on. Other dope things are happening as well. The woman sitting to the left of me celebrated her birthday on the 1st. New Year's Eve is synonymous with Miss Brandy Saray's birthday.
It's not New Year's Day, actually, but we get what you're saying.
It's not New Year's Day.
You said New Year's Eve.
Oh, my bad. New Year's Day. Yep. So, yeah, how do you feel?
I feel great. It's a new year, new opportunities, new focus. I'm ready to get it.
You look good.
I always do.
There's a lot of sass coming off you right now. You know how to respond.
38 and great. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Come on. I love it.
So what was your favorite moment of 2022? And don't say getting married to me, because we know that that was great and that was fabulous. And there'll never be a moment in your life that can top that. But other than that,
You putting a
best
lot on
moment
it.
of 2022.
Best moment of 2022. You can't just spring that on me. I got to think about
No,
it.
you can think of the best. If it's the best moment, it should be at the top of your head.
Well, you give me yours while I think of mine.
It was actually my brother's wedding. If I wouldn't say mine, obviously, I would say his. It was a lot for me. Like, I think I felt like the mom in that scenario. Like, I remember telling you several times, like, I can't believe my brother's getting married. Like, my little brother's getting married. And I don't know. It's not, I don't know. It felt like seeing him come into himself, his manhood, like hearing him in the vows. And we had a bang up time at the reception. Like,
Yeah, it was dope.
it was like one of the dopest moments for me, because I think for my family, my mom, you know, her kids are grown and married and off now. And to see him go into that new chapter of his life was really dope for me. So that is like in my highlight reel of 2022. So was our honeymoon.
Yeah, that was dope. Yeah, I don't know. You took away the wedding. I can't think of a moment aside from that was like,
There's a lot of great things that happened in 2022. You can't think of one.
You told me pick up a moment. I just can't think of one best moment. Like, there was a lot of dope things that happened, but I would say as a whole, the year was just really dope. I felt very grounded spiritually. I think I finally got back into preaching, like that felt good. So I can't think of like one isolated moment, just all of the year. It was a really good year. When I look back on 2022, I'm like, wow, it's a wow year for me.
A while or wow?
Wow, WOW. It's a wow
year.
For sure. So
it was. I think in the moment when you're going through a year or a month or whatever, you can only really focus on the right now, right? It's really hard to see like where you've come, how far you've made it. But when you have the opportunity to look back on the year as a whole, 2020 was actually really great for me. I think that for a lot of people, COVID was like a ceasefire for everything that you had going. But for me, it was really a time where I excelled in almost every area of my life, in love and work and friendships. So I was like, man, it don't get no better than this. But it just keeps getting better. So
it does.
I'm very excited for what 2023 has to hold. And we are one day in, and I said I had fun.
That part.
I got dressed up today. Like, I went out the house like by myself to be with friends. I don't do that. That is like, that's not me. I'm like, no, I don't want to go. I always make up an excuse or a reason why I don't go.
You was definitely warming up for an excuse before you left. I felt
I
it.
wasn't.
I felt it.
I wasn't. That's
There was a
such
lot of
lie.
groaning.
That's such a lie.
It was like, oh, I gotta get dressed.
I didn't know
up.
what to wear.
That part.
That was my crux because I was like,
Mhm.
I don't want to be underdressed and I want to be overdressed. But just getting out the house and like going somewhere with a group of friends is like something that I don't tend to do. So
Yeah,
I'm trying new things, trying to be more social,
that's what's up.
trying to like people now. There are people who are invading my bubble, which I'm just like,
Huh.
it's more than you inside the circle now.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So what are you looking forward to 2023?
I'm trying not to do that. I always not resolutions.
Yeah, just what are
but
you looking
like
forward to?
music. I really want to get back into music. It's been a long time since I've like actively been working on music, and I'm starting to feel that push and that itch. So I'm looking forward to that, releasing some stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's it.
Time.
Yeah,
World
it's about
needs
time.
to hear it.
Absolutely. Highlight of 2022. I found Liquid Death.
You have to explain that because
It's
somebody
a-
might think you're talking like heroin or something.
No, it's a water. It's a water. I found it. I got it because I thought it was something crazy, and then it said mountain water. I thought it was like an energy drink, and that said water. They got water called Liquid Death, and I bought it. And surprisingly, it's good. And I never liked water. I've never been a person like when I go to the store, I'm gonna get a water. Ever would I do that?
Let's be clear. Don't go looking for it and thinking you're gonna find it's water. Like it's not flavored water. It's not carbonated water.
They
It's
do have
just
they do
water.
have, but they have flavored water. They have carbonated water. If you're into that, I can't vouch for it because I don't drink carbonated water. But if you just like water, this is really good. Now keep it a bean. This is good, right?
It's good. I
It's
don't
good
like
water.
things out of a can. I'm very particular, so it tasted good in the can. But when I poured it into my little bottle, it tasted really good. It's very clean.
Very
if you
clean.
like water with no aftertaste, that's it. It's good.
Very good. We just did a whole promo for Liquid Death.
We
and,
did. They need to send us a check. Now.
I'm here for it. I don't know if anybody listening got to connect. Like, hit us up.
Definitely
'cause
gonna clip this and tag them on Instagram.
that part, it was so good. Anyways, as you know, we solicited you guys and your topics, your questions, because today we're doing a segment called Ask R&B. For everybody who cares to hear our take on different things. I think we build out quite the community right now, so it's dope to get you guys to weigh in on stuff.
Yeah, building on the conversation that we had on our last episode about just like giving out advice and unsolicited advice versus solicited advice. It was a good opportunity because we do get questions a lot. Our last live was really dope, and it was a really good exchange of questions and information. And since we get the questions all the time, we figured why not just answer them right here on the pod.
Absolutely. So there was a lot of you guys who wrote in, and we're not gonna be able to get to everything, but there were a few ones that we felt like would create some good conversation, and there's some that we'll save for the live tomorrow. So shameless plug, check us out tomorrow, Wednesday, Eastern Standard Time at 8:30 a.m. via Facebook, YouTube, PM. Yes, do not come at 8:30 in the morning think you're gonna see anything popping off on our social media. So yeah, let's kick it off. This writer wrote in and gave us a few topics and subjects and questions, and there's one I think we should start off on. They asked, what is our take on spinning the block, right? Or in other words, like when you double back to your ex, y'all not together no more, but you still messing around. What's your take on that?
So I think I have a good experience on both sides of, when it goes really well, i.e., and when it doesn't go really well. So in general, I think my preset advice is if you broke up with them and you really felt like you were done, then just be done. I don't know if it's beneficial to go back and spin the block, so they say, unless the things that caused you to break up the first time have been addressed and you see evidence of that.
What was the last part you said?
I wouldn't say go back unless the things that caused you all to break up have been addressed and there's evidence of that.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like, I feel like when you break up with somebody and you're not dealing with the stressors of the relationship, of course you reminiscing on all the good stuff. Like, when you don't have to deal with the stress, when you look back, you think about all the good stuff. So it's easy to be like, oh, you know what, I missed him. And low key, even if you are thinking about the bad stuff, ultimately, when you spend a substantial amount of time with somebody and you build a relationship with them, even when it's over, like, you can't just, I'm done. Like, nah, you remember them, you'll miss them, and you had those moments. But I do agree that, like, if the issue was there, if the issue never was resolved, like, it's just waiting on you when you get back. You know what I mean?
There have been several people that when we tell our story or we're talking to someone and we're just like, yeah, we used to date in high school, that they'll jokingly say like, oh, maybe I need to go check on some of my exes to see what's up. And I know it's a joke, but I do think that in some people's minds, like the evil you know is better than the evil that you don't know. So like you go back to what's familiar to you to avoid dealing with her or, you know, getting to know somebody else and learning them, and with the possibility of it going bad, like I'll just go back to what I know. This is the only successful relationship that I've had where, you know, I've doubled back and it's actually worked out for me. And I think with us, there was enough time in between that it didn't really feel like I'm going back to my ex. I mean, yes, that's what it is, but it was 20 something years in between the time that we dated. We are really essentially at the core the same people, but behavior wise and maturity wise, we're really two different people than what we were when we were 16 and 17 years old.
I don't think you can categorize this as spinning the block because it was so long ago.
But it's still spinning the block. You still was my ex.
Yeah, no, technically yes. But like you said, we were just two different people, right? And essentially when it's fresh, right? Like when you have so I'll say this, you made a good point about like the familiarity of somebody, right? Mm-hmm. So if your reason for being with somebody is because they're accessible, they're familiar, you're comfortable, to me, that's a red flag on pursuing that. You know what I mean? But like ultimately when you look back and assess like, you know what, we had something good. Mm-hmm. And I can see where we went wrong, right? Like there was a lot of pride there. It was a lot of like just not wanting to admit I was wrong or bad communication. Mm-hmm. I've grown since then, or we can work this out. Then that's different. I'm saying like if that's the case, I can see like, okay, let's try it again. Let's actually work on it versus, you know, well, I don't like being alone. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I know they're readily available, so I just kind of keep falling back into it. And that's why I'm not a big proponent on hooking up after the relationship.
Yeah, I think the reason why you go back is super important. Like, what are you going back for? Like you said, is it comfortableness? Is it familiarity? Or is it that you've maybe seen change behavior from a distance and now you're like, oh, well, maybe we could give it another shot? Because even with us, with 20 years or how many ever long it was between, we still had to evaluate like, okay, we like each other, but do we like each other because of the history that we have, because it felt so good and it felt so real back then? Or are the feelings that we feel new? Well, I won't say us. I will say for me, I had to definitely like reevaluate. Am I in love with the thought of old Russell and the possibility of fulfilling that dream that I had when I was 16 of being with him and marrying him and having a life happily ever after? Am I so sold on that idea that I just want to be with him? Or do I really want to be with him for who he is right now? And I had to see that. Like, I had to watch you. I had to learn you. I had to understand who you were. So I knew, was it this that I was chasing and thinking that I'm falling in love with? Or was it the person that's sitting in front of me? And I think that sometimes we get so used to how a person used to be, and we think that, you know, maybe it's been enough time, so I've changed, I've fixed myself. But you have to understand that that person has also changed and they've become somebody different. And are you ready to be with the person that they are now?
Yeah, you'd have been sick if you was looking for 17-year-old me at 37. That would have been a bad a bad experience.
But I mean, I knew you as a decent human being. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I had to unlearn.
But I wasn't
a toxic you.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I just wasn't that at the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I think I was a more toxic version of who I was back then. You know what I mean? So yeah, like ultimately, you gotta really assess like, why am I tempted to go back? Why am I doubling back? Or okay, they're trying to reintroduce a relationship. Why would I do that? Because it's so many things that pull us back into that relationship multiverse, like, and that cycle can get real vicious, right? Like I remember one episode we was talking about how, you know, maybe you don't want to introduce a new partner, like a sexual partner, but you know, you got your needs, so you just end up falling back into that whole, you know, spiel of, all right, I'm just gonna get back with him. I don't want to add another number to my, you know what I mean? Like,
so I'm just gonna be with this person, and it's just like, for me, it always pulled me back in. Like, it would start with just, okay, I'm just gonna have sex with him because, you know, I want to have sex and I don't want to add nobody else. But then having sex with somebody, obviously, it's a soul tie. So now I'm deeper and deeper involved with this person, and then we're just right back in our same toxic cycle.
We use that,
and I'm
too.
like, oh, how did I get here? Because you couldn't control your urges. That's how you got there.
Yeah, and I've had girls try to use that, like, not even girls, because I don't think it's a female thing. I think it's a people thing, but we'll use sex like in a breakup where you still want to be with the person, but you know they might be at a point where they just like, I don't want to deal with the relationship. But you use sex to stay in cahoots.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I've been in that relationship where it was like, well, we don't got to be together. I just want to, you know, making it seem like they just down to do whatever.
I've been that girl.
Do tell. Do tell.
I think we talked about this on the episode before, but
that was high school.
Yeah. I've definitely been that. I mean, and even post high school, just been okay with being a sexual relationship with somebody just because I wanted the relationship with them, but maybe they weren't there, especially with my exes. Like, maybe the breakup wasn't mutual. Yeah. And I know that, okay, if nothing else, I know I could still have sex with them and I still love them. So I would just take that. And then again, like I said, we just end up right back in the toxic cycle, but I'm using it as a means to try to convince them that we should be back together. And even when it did work out, the relationship didn't work out because it's
ultimately like we
not fixing nothing.
Yeah, and sometimes it's nothing to fix. Sometimes like you're just not the person for them. And that's a hard pill to swallow.
Hard to accept.
It's hard to accept, especially when you want them. You know what I mean? There was this girl who I was dealing with, and I made it clear. I was trying to be more upfront, and I was like, you know what? I'm not looking for a relationship. Like, this is just what it is. Like, we chilling, we vibing, like we just vibing, right?
Watch them vibes.
And of course, that sounds cocky, but you know, I think I knew she liked me. You know what I mean? And even though I was communicating, like, I'm not looking for that, ultimately, like, that's not going to change, you know, growing feelings. You know what I mean? And I think people downplay sex a lot anyway, but it's a spiritual thing. You know what I mean? And it's hard to do that without developing feelings of some sort. You know what I mean? I don't think everybody you sleep with you're going to fall in love with. Right. But, you know, it's hard not to develop feelings. Jealousy happens. So, it just got to the point where it was like, yo, you don't hit me back. You know, you don't even check on me, blah, blah. I'm like, look, I made it clear. I don't want blah, 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 blah. But it was more than that. So try to cut it off. Well, I did cut it off. And I got that message like, well, let's just, you know, hook up. And I'm like, nah, I told you I'm not looking for, it's like, nah, like I'm good. I just missed the sex.
You just cut the feelings off.
But I knew that's not what it was. Like, I'm going to be caught in this cycle going back and forth because I know you want more. You know what I mean? I know you're not looking for just someone to sleep with you. You want somebody to love you. You know what I mean? And if I'm not able to do that, then I got to stop trying to occupy this place with you that I know I can't. You know what I mean?
So as a blanket recommendation, spinning the block would be a no for you. Even though it worked out.
I wouldn't say that.
It's case by case.
This is not spinning the block to me.
It is spinning spinning the block.
It's really not. To
It was
me.
a long block. It was like a New York City
This ain't
block,
spinning
but it
a
was
block.
a long
This
block.
is like spinning the country. Like you drove all the way around the U.S. and back again. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no because I think if both parties are willing to come back to the table and work on it, I think it'd be a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? And I think, especially in this day and age, people are more prone to just at the first sign of inconvenience, at the first sign of
I'm
you make
out.
me mad or I'm upset, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think real love, real relationships, for them to last, you got to have some grit to you. You got to have some stick-to-itiveness. And sometimes it's coming back to the table and being like, yo, what happened? And let's work on it. So I would say spinning a block, if it's done in the right way with some intentionality, could be a dope thing.
So do you think it's more difficult to start a new relationship or to go back to an ex and try to create a new relationship from the one that you had?
Start a new one is more difficult.
You really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna say I think that it would be harder to create something new with an ex, but only if there was like real life situations that caused y'all to
Create
break
something
up.
new.
Yeah, like okay, we had a relationship. Let's just say cheating was involved or disrespect was involved. So we decided to go our separate ways. We did what we think we need to do, and now we want to get back together. I think that's harder than just starting fresh with somebody else.
It depends on what the issue was.
Right.
Like infidelity is a hard thing like to navigate through. But sometimes it's just as simple as like being malleable, like having some bend to you. Like it could be something as simple as I have jealousy issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I work on that and I fix what's going on with me and I address what's going on with me, now we come back to the table and we good. Or say I have trust issues based on something I've been through in the past, right? You can go to a new relationship. That's going to come with you, right? If you're a cheater, that's going to come with you it's coming with you to a new relationship, right? So I think when you come to a familiar person, at least you're coming in with some skin in the game. Like, okay, I know you love me. You know I love you. So it gives us some want to in terms of working on us and fix it versus swapping faces, but recycling the same problem. Like I cheated in my last relationship. I'm here with you now. It's a new relationship. I'm going to cheat on you too.
I mean, I was saying, obviously, you're coming into it as a healthy individual. Like you're not carrying some of those things. But I just think it's.
You mean
when
in this
you have-
scenario, you're the person that you were innocent in this. Like you just.
No, I mean you could be either or, but you want to start a new relationship at fresh. You've dealt with your things, and now should I move on to somebody new, or should I try to make it work with somebody that I could have potentially messed up with, or maybe we had history? I just think it's harder to get over the history sometimes. Like when you've had a pattern in a relationship and now you're trying to start something new, but you still remember the old stuff that either you did or they did, versus somebody that's coming in with a clean slate. Like,
it varies.
I'm giving you the
on-
benefit of the doubt. Let's see what we can make here.
It varies on the situation in terms of like what they did.
Right. Why the
But-
breakup happened.
Yeah, but ultimately, like, yeah, sometimes that it's always gonna be easy in the first 3 months. Like when a new person come in, of course everything's amazing, but yeah.
I think if you're going to go back, if you're considering going back to an ex to try to make it work again, you have to consider two things. One, why did y'all break up in the first place? Like what caused that? Two, has there been work on both sides to rectify the things that caused y'all to break up? And well, maybe three, why do you want to be with them still?
Yeah.
Like, is it just the comfortness or comfortability? Ooh, that was a big word. Or got a little choked up coming out. Is it the comfortability, or is it because you really see potential there and you want to make it work?
We definitely got to master letting people go.
Absolutely.
Easier said than done, but like it's such a underrated skill set.
Regardless of your feelings, right? Because
Yeah.
even if you feel like you love them and it could be great, if you've tried it and you have evidence that it's not great, it's not what you thought it was going to be, regardless of the feeling, like sometimes it's better just to walk away. And I think that's where we catch the spin in the block, is because people have trouble walking away. They have trouble with the finality of a breakup.
Yeah.
Like we treat breakups like, oh, it's a breakup, but I'm still come back to you. Just like when we was talking about taking a break. Like that's how we treat breakups. Oh no, I'm just gonna take a break. Nah, like end it. You have evidence that it's not gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna land on either side because like I said, I think if y'all both come to the table with the heart, like we gonna work on it, or it's something that's fixable. And now that you've been out there, because sometimes you gotta step out and be like, you know what? I don't like it out here. I had it good where I was at. You know what I mean? So
How many chances do you get though?
that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation. I don't know.
If you already tried spinning the block once, don't spin it again.
I don't know. I can't say that. There's a lot of relationships that take a lot more work. I don't know. Now, I just think rather than keep breaking up, just work on it. Not everything requires a breakup. We'd be so quick to just be like, I'm done with you.
I'm glad you said that. Sidebar. So at the event that I went to today, that actually came up. Like how we're so quick to dismiss people. And so one of the ladies that I was talking to said that if you decide to date somebody, it's a great idea to date them in couples, like go on couples dates so that you hear the things that other couples go through and you realize that it can help you realize that some of the stuff that you're dealing with in your relationship are just things that people deal with in relationships, right? Mm-hmm. And not everything is meant to, oh, you just said this the wrong way or you didn't do that, so now I'm just done with you. Yeah. Like, no, this is something that everybody deals with, and going out on dates as couples can help you see that. I was like, you know what? That's really smart, because a lot of us don't do that. Like, we didn't do that. Like, our dating phase really antisocial. Was just us.
Yeah. But honestly, though, like, I don't know. I feel like with the unique way that we dated, I think we both came into our relationship with a whole lot of self-reflection based on our last relationship. Yeah. And we talked about it so much. Not saying that I see it being beneficial, yes. But I think God let us skip that part because we was like, nah, I know what I did. I know what I did wrong. I ain't gonna hold you up. Let me tell you.
All right, so what's the next one?
Nah, you tell me what's next. You gotta pick one. I picked the first one.
Okay, but that mean I gotta go all up in here.
You could have just been prepared.
I wasn't, because I thought you was just gonna do it.
All of them?
Yeah.
You gotta pick one. You the one that picked the ones. I can't even remember.
So somebody asked for us to talk about dealing with in-laws, specifically if your in-laws need help of some sort. How far do you stay in your lane or let your partner handle their parents? So we kind of saw this scenario play out. If you haven't seen The Best Man Holiday, then this is an alert to stop the recording right now and go watch it, because I'm about to do a little spoiler. Yeah, the spoiler alert. Or wasn't it called The Best Man Holiday?
No, that's the movie where Mia died.
It was called The Best Man Final Chapters.
There you go.
Yeah, if you have not watched that, just stop right now. Don't listen no further, because I'm going to put a little spoiler alert out there. So where Quentin, his father, was experiencing dementia and was having some lapses in judgment, and they went to the home and found out that he was like living in, filth. And the wife was really led the charge of that. There was a rift between father and son, and it took the wife to kind of bring them together and cause them to come back together and help him. So in that scenario, or a scenario similar like that, when you're the spouse, what role do you play in assisting the in-laws?
Is that what they meant by help?
I think so.
I ain't know. I thought maybe in my mind.
Well, we don't have clarity, so let's just go with that.
I think it's just kind of as needed, ultimately, like, if it's health stuff, then I think you need to be there to be support for your spouse. Like, that's a lot for anybody to deal with. In my previous relationship, her mother was sick, and that was really tumultuous. So you just have to be there for moral support with the people that you're with. You know what I mean? Like, so if I'm sitting back like, okay, yo, you just handle it, you got this, I'm going to just stay in my lane and mind my business, then I think I would be really leery if I'm doing my job as a husband, leaving you to deal with that emotional situation by yourself. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I remember I kind of played a fence, right, with that, but I think that as the role of the spouse, like you're there to support and you're there to encourage. So I remember in the beginning of, well, not in the beginning, but in our relationship, like me knowing what I had with my grandparents and being like, hey, you know, when's the last time you talked to them? You should call them, you know what I'm saying? To try to get you to reach out, you know, and to talk to your grandparents. Like, I think it's our job to encourage and to foster that, but I don't think that it should be the role of the spouse to like overtake or overstep where your spouse is comfortable with being. So like if you kept your parents, you don't, but if you did, kept your parents at a distance, right? For whatever reasons, maybe y'all have like a strained relationship. It's not my job as a spouse to overstep that and then start doing things that your parents maybe would have expected from you, then to start doing that for them because you don't do that. Like I have to support you and encourage you to fix that, but I don't think it's my job to step in and take care of or do things for your parents if you're not.
What if it's financial help? Like, what if you have in-laws who are needy in the sense of maybe they're going through something financial and they need a lot of help? Do you stay in your lane and let them handle that? Like, do you like, look, you just deal with that? Or are you more communicative? Like, how do we navigate that? When I read the question, that's what my mind went to.
You thought about financial help?
Yeah, I thought like they need help and I'm trying to stay in my lane. But every time your mom asks you for money or every time your dad say he needs something, you just giving it away. And we got needs over here. I couldn't get new pairs of socks or something, whatever I needed, because you gave your mom, $50.
Well, number one, I don't think you should ever do anything out of a deficit in your home. So I don't care who it is. Like if there isn't enough here, I don't think you should be taking what we have and giving it to somebody else because they're your parent or because they're your best friend or whatever. But if it's plenty, I think that's a discussion that you have with your spouse and y'all have to come to an agreement on what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. Like, I don't think there's ever a scenario where we live lavish, right? And our parents live in a house that's falling apart. I don't think that's acceptable. You know what I'm saying? But if they're okay and they just know that they can call you and ask for money and that you're going to give it to them, to me, that's a problem. Yeah. Like as adults, we have some responsibility, like once our parents get of a certain age, to help them, to assist them where we can. But it's not our job to take care of them ever, unless they can't take care of themselves, right? So if we have able-bodied people who can still provide and take care of themselves, but they know you got it, so they can just come and ask you, I have a problem with that. And I think we have to decide what's acceptable based on what our financial situation is to help people. And it's not like a monthly allowance. It's, okay, we got this need and we can help you out with that.
There's a lot of parents that are really dependent on the children.
Yeah, I mean, if it works for them, I mean, if there are people like, I watch the housewife shows and there are, some of the housewives who are very well off and their parents live with them and they just take care of them and that's just what it is. But it's an agreement between husband and wife.
Yeah. And also some people that just get on and be like, I'll make sure my mom don't got to work again.
Yeah.
But once again, I think the main part is like it's an agreement between the both of y'all and it should be some communication, right? Like, when you for the person that wrote in, when they made a statement about specifically how far do you go as far as staying in your lane, I think when you marry in, like that's not just his parents, like that's your family too, right? So you at baseline, if you're uncomfortable, then you start communicating with your spouse, right? You communicate with them, find out what their expectations are. Like, hey, concerning this, how would you like me to take part? How would you like me to help? Do you want my help? If so, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And vice versa, if it's something that you feel like you want to do and you feel like there's no space for you, or maybe the finances, maybe they're taking liberties or engaging with their families and parents in a way that makes you uncomfortable, maybe it's finances, then you have the communication about your expectations. Like, hey, look, I never want your family to struggle. I never want your mom or dad to struggle, but I would appreciate it, since we share finances, since we have combined income, that we have some conversation about when there's a need. So if your mom says, hey, Kambral, I'm never gonna, if we got it, I'm never gonna say no.
Yeah.
But I would appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, I think that there are just some things where when you're married, it's not your lane and his lane. Like, it's y'all lane.
Yeah.
We in this lane together. So if there's something that we got to address, then we have to address it together. Finances is one of those things where it's not his lane and my lane. It's our lane at all times. So just for a really great example, when it comes to money, like my mom does not work. So there were things that when I was single, I did for my mom that when I got married, I had to explain to her, like, can't do that. And not just my mom, my cousins, my friends. Like, there's just stuff that I can't do for y'all right now. Now it's not just my money. It's our money. And when I was sending you $10 for gas or $20 for cigarettes or to get your baby some diapers, like, I can't just do that now. Like, if I have personal money that's free to me, then sure, I'll give it to you. But other than that, I can't just take our money and give it to you because you asked me for it. And I don't even bring that stuff to you. Because to me, like, what stake do you have in that where you want to go pay for diapers for somebody's baby?
Yeah, you didn't want to do that anyway. You was just using me.
That was not using you. That's not true.
I'm married now.
That's not true.
My husband said I can't let you borrow $10.
That is not true, because I was, especially for the ones like where people with helping their babies. Like, I was a single mom once and I needed somebody to help me. You know what I'm saying? So for my little people who was just like, hey, you know, baby need diapers, can you help me? Sure. But it's the cigarettes and the, you know, that's the stuff that I'm like, I can't do that. And I'm definitely not about to ask him to do that for you.
When you're like gifted in any area, you attract the people that need that gift. Like, when you're a good listener, you attract people that like talking and like people. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you're a giver, you attract takers. And that's a scary line to tread, right? Especially especially when you're a giver who has resources. Like, when you're a giver who's in a position to give and you don't mind giving.
Yeah.
When you attract the people who see that and take advantage of that, that gets real rocky. And it's even worse when that happens at the hands of someone who you were born into a family. Like, this is a cousin. I grew up with you. I love you. This is mom. I don't want you to go without. But I'm in a space where I feel like I'm being taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? So, proceed with caution. You already know our motto, like, communication is the piece, man. Like, when you're communicating well, you can navigate almost anything, you know, especially this. So just talk.
Be open to seeing something in a different light. Like, because I may have a very strong stance of why you shouldn't take care of your parent, but there may be a dynamic that I don't understand. Help me understand that. Or if you're the person who disagrees, seek to understand why that person is making that decision. Why are they quote unquote overextending themselves? Why do they feel the need to take care of their parent? It may be something there that you don't understand, a dynamic that was at play way before you got involved in the situation. And it's sometimes hard to sever that just because my spouse says so. So it takes a little bit of give and take on both ends, I think.
Absolutely. Yep. I think we can put that one to bed.
All right.
This next one struck a chord with me.
Oh, Lord.
It didn't strike a chord with me. I don't have any personal, but I do feel strongly about the subject. How long is too long to be in the friend zone? And I am a huge advocate for the death of the friend zone. I think the friend zone should die. I don't think it should exist any longer.
You mean being friends with somebody?
No, the friend zone.
What's the difference?
When you're friends with somebody, you guys are both understanding that we're friends and that's all we want in this scenario. The friend zone is made when someone wants to be more than a friend, but I'm stuck in this zone because the other person only sees me as a friend.
That's like a personal problem. How do I take you out of a zone that you put yourself in?
It's not your job to take anybody out of a zone. You know what I mean? It's the other person's job to communicate what I really want from you. And if I can't get what I really want from you, then to make a decision on whether or not I'm comfortable just being a friend. And if I'm not going to be anything else, then I'm good. But I'm not just staying in a zone
So friend zone is a personal decision that you have to make.
It's a person. I mean, no. I mean, most people in the friend zone didn't choose to be there.
But I mean, like when it comes to the length of time that you're in the friend zone, that's something that you have to decide for yourself.
Yeah, and I would never spend any time in there. I wouldn't spend any time in the friend zone if I know I have feelings for you, but maybe I'm scared to express that, so I'm just hanging around trying to, you know what I mean, wait to see if there's some mutual feeling, or maybe I am expressing it and they're just like, you know, I just don't see you like that. Like, you my bro, or, you know, you my sis. I don't see you like that. So now I'm just like, okay, cool. You know, I'm just here chilling in the friend zone, watching you, you know what I mean, be with other people. Like, that's just torture. And I think if people value themselves more and understand, it goes back to like the learn how to let people go conversation, right? Like, you're not for everybody and everybody's not for you, right? Like, your puzzle piece was made for a specific space and not everybody's going to provide that space for you. And when you understand that, you're not hurt. Well, no, I won't say that because it can be hurtful sometimes, but you're able to just process that and move on, right? Like, I like you. You're cool. I'd like to get to know you. Let's just be friends. Cool. Now I'm making a decision. I really want to be with you. So if we can't be that, then I'm good. Or, you know what? You're right. You're cool people either way. Let's be friends. And I'm good with just that. But a lot of people stay there for years, waiting opportunity, hating on their relationship. We talked about that the other episode. Yeah, nah, like, the friend zone needs to die. Don't stay there.
I don't think I don't have a differing opinion on that. I think a lot of people who put themselves or are put into the friend zone and decide to stay there, I don't know what the difference is between, like, okay, I've expressed my feelings to somebody and they don't like me in that way, but if I choose to just still be their friend, is that still being in the friend zone?
No.
So it's like the hope that's there that makes it like the friend zone. The hope that eventually they'll change their mind and we can have a relationship. That's what makes the friend zone.
Yeah, like,
okay,
you're there waiting for an opportunity to be something more. You know what I mean? You're there, or sometimes you don't even. And a lot of times people in the friend zone, they haven't even expressed, I want to be with you.
Right.
But like,
you can tell by the way I'm handling you that I'm just handling you as a friend.
Yeah, like, in a lot. I don't know if it's the same thing with girls, but I know amongst guys, like, that's a thing. Like, oh, what's up with y'all, man? You know, we just kicking it, man. We went to the gun range, or we went out and got some food. What's up? Yeah, man, we just kicking it. Oh, you in the friend zone. Y'all did anything? Y'all did this? Y'all did that? Or like, when it's made clear, like, I don't think we're gonna go that route, or I don't think we're gonna be together, but you know you want to be in a relationship.
I don't know if it's a guy or girl thing, but since I'm a girl, I'm gonna speak from that perspective. I don't think we realize that we put people in the friend zone. Like, if you come to me and you say something like, hey, I want it, or I like you more than just a friend, and I'm like, oh, you know, I think you're cool and I like hanging out with you, but I don't think it would be anything more. To me, that's not, you my friend. Like, I don't know what part of that still gives you hope that
it's really not the other person.
Yeah. What part?
Yeah.
So I think that's like not self-esteem, but like, what makes you, what is it, a delusion? Like, what if somebody tells you I'm trying to be sensitive to it, but I'm trying to understand, if I come to somebody and say I have feelings for them, they say, no, I just see you as a friend. What in that still makes you think that there's an opportunity?
Maybe they don't really say that out loud. Maybe they don't believe that. Sometimes we lie to ourselves. Sometimes we convince ourselves, oh, we're just going to be friends. But you know you have more feelings than that. And you stay in there. You do way more for them than you would just a friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're growing closer and closer and closer, but you're doing it as friends when you know you want something more. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't know what's the driving force behind it, but I don't think it's a stretch to say it's an esteem thing. Like, I think when you value yourself, you'll only desire people who also desire you.
Absolutely.
And when you don't, it's like, okay, cool. You know, it hurts a little, bruise my ego a little bit, but it's cool. Like, I'm going to go for the person that sees me and says, I want you.
I
You know
mean,
what
I equate it to like a job interview, right? I'm going for a certain position. There's an open position and I apply for it and they deny me, but I'm like, I'm still going to keep applying. No, they don't want you.
Oh, I'm so still in that. I'm so still in that. That's a fire analogy. Yeah, like I know you didn't give me a job, but I'm just gonna show up every day and sit in the lobby
Until you decide that
it's like, yo, no, we're not friends. Or I'm a volunteer.
you're not a good fit. Like, this position is not for you. You don't meet the qualifications. So then you have to move on. I don't even think the friend zone only exists in somebody else, in the person who's in it's mind. Because it seems like in that scenario now, I get if we haven't communicated that. But then again, if you haven't told me that there's a desire and I haven't shot you down, then you're not in the friend zone.
Yeah. I mean, but there's a lot of people who have no idea. Like there's some people who, oh, no, I won't say that because there's some people who really know. Like I know you feel more for me than just a friendship. But you cool. I can depend on you when I need a ride. You give me a ride. You know what I'm saying? Like
The friend zone is an illusion.
yeah, and there's a lot of people that take advantage of that too. Like I know you like me, I want to be with you, but I'm gonna use you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But you should want to be around that person anyways. Like,
you'd be surprised what people just subject themselves to when they just want to be around. You know what I mean?
that's sad.
Develop these infatuations over people for whatever reason. That maybe their looks, maybe their personality. You should say, wow, like they're amazing. And they'll just do anything to stay close to that person.
I've been in friend groups like that.
Mhm.
I've been in friend groups where there's somebody who doesn't necessarily mesh. You know, like, you know, somebody you like, they just want to be down. Like they just hang around because they want to be down with us. And it's like they don't really fit, but they will do anything and everything to be there.
down with the
They
crew.
get a rides, they get the money, they buy the drinks, you know what I'm saying? It's just like they're just there because of what they bring to it versus the value that they add as just the person that they are. So I have been in situations like that, and I do understand how the group keeps that person around for a specific thing. And to me, if you're going to be in any situation where you see you're being undervalued, where you see your worth is not appreciated, or maybe they just don't even notice you in the way that you know you deserve to be noticed, don't be in that situation. Like, I don't think anybody can friend zone you. You friend zone yourself when you still thirsty after they said, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, if somebody tell me I don't want to be with you, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Deuces.
And be honest with yourself. Like, if you have feelings for them, you can't just be their friend. It's a lot of people who try to be friends when there's more than just friend feelings, and that's never going to work. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you feel way more for them than just being a friend. So hanging around, being up under them, like,
Yeah.
you'll never be able to move on. You could be missing the opportunity to be with someone who really think you the best thing since sliced bread, but you all up under what's the face, you know what I'm saying? And you miss an opportunity.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be very honest. That was my situation when I first got divorced. Like, my ex-husband said that, let's just be friends. Like, I just don't want to be married anymore. Let's just be friends. And I really thought that I could do that for half a second. But I'm like, I didn't ask for this. So obviously my feelings are still very real, still very raw. Like, I was just married to you yesterday. How I'm supposed to just be your friend the next day? Like, I can't make that switch in my head. And that does play into why our dynamic is the way it is now, because for a specific period of time, until I could deal with my feelings and my loss and my grief, like, I had to just be like, I can't deal with you at all. Only if it pertains to the kids. I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you. Because everything's still fresh for me. Like, you have to be able to cut that off and process and move on. Because like you said, you're going to block yourself from something really great, hoping that something will turn into more.
Yeah, heavy on the we can't be friends.
Let yourself go.
RL and Deborah Cox, because I'm still in love with you. There's a lot of people, let's just be friends, and they really attempt that. Like, that don't work. Learn how to let people go. Learn how to let people go.
Yeah, and I think the old adage is truly, it's real. Like, it goes back to our conversation with exes, but if it's meant to be, it will be. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to manipulate it. You don't have to lie for it. You don't have to accept just what's given to you. Like, if that relationship is meant for you to be in, the tides will shift and you will be in that relationship. You don't have to manufacture it. Just let it happen.
Mm.
And if it don't happen, walk away.
All right.
Period. It's my turn again. I gotta do
Your
this.
turn. Yeah.
Ah.
You take too long with yours. I have mine ready.
Well, because I don't like the taking turns thing. Like, you know what you
shoulda
want to
had
talk
just
about. Let's just go.
I
to
don't
it.
know what you want to talk about. That's the problem.
I don't know, babe. How to date as a Christian?
You asking me? Intentionality. I think that's the difference. I think that's the difference between Christian dating and dating outside of Christianity is the intentionality behind it. I'm not going back into it.
I feel like
I'm not going back
like
into
whoever asked
it.
this question was really trying to get us to argue
I'm
again.
not going back into it. But that's why I got so passionate. We had a little back and forth. Y'all remember the tension filled episode, which is why we're not going to go back into it. But that's why I got so passionate, because I'm like, what is just dating? If you're not dating to marry, what are you doing? If you need company, there's so many different ways to get company. It doesn't have to be framed in the dating, because I think the dating space for the Christian person, for the person who says, I'm looking for my man of God, I'm looking for my woman of God that I'm spending the rest of my life with, I think that's done for the purpose of finding them, not just company. Because I think when you just want entertainment, you open yourself up to stuff. You don't have to, of course, but it intensifies the chances that it will be. So it's the intentionality. It's dating. Hey, what do you think about this? I'm asking the important questions. And it's not a job interview. I still want to see ultimately, like, do I like being around you? Are you fun? You know what I mean? Do I like the way you look? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's the intentionality behind it. Are we equally yoked?
I actually don't disagree with what Russell is saying in the aspect of when you're someone who is living life for God and has determined that you are a Christian and that's what you want to do. In order to find your mate, you do have to be intentional. I think you have to understand you 100% and then understand exactly what you're looking for. Now this is where we differ. If you're dating to find a mate, that is one person having a set standard for yourself on what you will and won't allow and holding people accountable. And I think you have to find someone that matches that same energy. So if you're dating as a Christian, I do not recommend dating someone who's not a Christian. I don't know. I don't think there's any more plain way to say that. So
Yeah, nah, that ain't gonna work.
I was gonna try to find some way to finesse it to make it sound good. But the truth is, if you're saying I'm a Christian and I live life for God, you should be dating someone who is the same.
Yeah. And there are some people who don't do that. The Christian, they're with people of other faiths. Then the challenge is, or the question is like, okay, how much is your faith a part of your life? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because if you just call yourself a Christian,
right,
but you don't really live like that,
absolutely,
of course it's not going to be an issue, because y'all both can claim whatever faith you want to believe, what you want to believe. If you're living your life in any way, it's not going to be no issue. But the moment I want my life to line up with what I believe, and what I believe don't line up with what you believe, but we're supposed to share life, it's going to be a problem. When we want to raise our children seriously, teaching them about God and the faith, instead of just like, well, hey, believe what you want to believe. You know, mom believes this, dad believes this. Figure it out for yourself. like when you want to get serious about it, like those things are going to be issues. So I guess it really depends on like what type of life you want to have. But if you dating as a Christian and you're seeking out how to do that, then that's an indication that that's a big part of your life. You know what I mean? So you should want to build with someone who's got that same level of desire that you have. Like,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I think another thing is once you find somebody that you want to go steady, you want to, whatever you call it, that's your boyfriend, that's your girlfriend.
Steady.
Yeah,
I could tell you just got older yesterday. Go steady.
You want to go steady with them, you're courting, whatever. Lord. You find your person. This is something that we don't talk about, but you have to understand that there will be temptation. Just because you're a Christian and you're living life for God and you're sold out, when you get close up on a man or a woman that has your affection, that look good, that you are intending on marrying, the temptation to have sex is going to come.
Pressure. It's pressure.
You have to be, number one, open to communicating your feelings and your intention as it relates to sex. Now, we are going to say that if you are two Christians that are dating, you should not be having sex. That's a choice that you're going to have to make for yourself. But if that's your desire, recognize that there will be so much temptation and so many things that will try to come up against your desire to abstain until marriage. And when you recognize that, I think we're taught that you just don't have sex until you're married. And we believe that it's just some magical wand that's waved over Christian relationships that make it so you're never tempted. It's a lie from the pits of hell. You're going to be tempted, and you have to be able to govern yourself accordingly in situations. So if that means not being laid up on the couch under the covers, if that means not spending the night with each other, if that means not kissing for more than 10 seconds or whatever it means for your relationship, I think you have to talk about that. You have to outline that, and you have to do whatever you can to stick to that. When Russell and I were dating, I made it very clear up front, I don't want to have sex until I'm married. Every time I got next to him, I wanted to have sex. How do I deal with that? How do I match that up? Match my body, what my body is telling me, with what I know in my heart. Like, you have to be able to be so convinced that that's what you want to do, that the feelings that rise up in your body don't overcome your conviction. And it's difficult. It's so hard. It's so hard. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Nah, I think we said it all. Like, it's difficult, but it goes down to intentionality, right? Like, and I think what makes it easier to navigate, there
ain't no part of it that's easy.
Not easy, but what makes it better or more sustainable is when you have someone who cares about it as much as you do. Mm-hmm. And if I'm being honest, when we first started dating, I didn't want to abstain, but it wasn't for the right reasons. Like, I just was crazy about her, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to be the person that comes around, and all of a sudden you feel like your spiritual life is going down. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I wanted to abstain, but it was because I cared about you. But when I wanted to abstain because I cared about my relationship with God, and I cared about, living my life the way He says is more beneficial for me to live my life, then we can have some real weight, a real anchor. That's when we really was like, okay, because there was a point where it was real touch and go, right? Right? And there was a moment where we hit like a real stride. And I remember we took a trip to Chicago for my birthday. Was it my birthday?
Yes.
She took me to Chicago. Man, we had the sexiest room that has ever been created.
It was created for sex.
It was the view, number one, just overlooking the water. You got the Chicago skyline. It was the sexiest room ever.
Besides the wall that like the bathroom and the door were on, the rest of it was windows, floor to ceiling windows overlooking downtown Chicago and Lake Michigan.
The lighting was beautiful. So much so we got there. We were sneaking, like we took a video of the room. We like, oh, look at our dope room. People that care about us writing in like, hey, look now, we know y'all grown, okay, but y'all not married.
We got scolded.
Y'all not married, and you're in this sexy room. Okay, and you don't want to give off the wrong impression. Okay, like, and it was legit. That's how I'm trying to paint the picture of how sexy this room was, but that's not the point of what I'm trying to land on.
It was sexy though.
But we was in there fighting, like spiritual warfare. Like, okay, how do we lay in this bed together and not? You know what I'm saying? And when I say something just clicked for us there.
In that moment, yes.
Something for us clicked there. And we had like anchoring phrases that we use, like little stuff like this. Like when it got real, we would look at each other and say, it's bigger than us. Mm-hmm. Like us not having sex is so much bigger than us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff that we got to represent in this world. There's stuff that we got to do in this world that's bigger than us.
And this was before What They Never Told Us.
This is before there was a podcast.
There was no podcast.
But we had this feeling like, you know what, there's something in our lives that we know we have to represent. You know what I mean? Like, how can we even talk to somebody else about how to navigate this if we can't navigate it ourselves? You know what I mean? So
And I would just want to say that was a pivotal moment, not only for us making it through that, but it was also the moment that we looked back on every time we were tempted. But after that, like we literally were in the world's sexiest room and we did not have sex. Like we sit here on the couch, like we not gonna do it. If we was gonna do it, we was gonna do it where the mood was set, the atmosphere was right.
I'm still trying to get back to that room. We need to capitalize now that we, legal. You know what I'm saying? But it something clicked there for me to where after that it got easier. Right? You know what I mean? Like in it still was what it was, but it got easier. Like I felt like we hit a stride. We had just decided. We had decided in a moment, like, you know what? We're not. And we didn't. You know what I'm saying? And I think before that, even though we knew we didn't want to, it was always like, let's just hope for the best.
Yeah. It was touch and go every day. Like
every day.
We just used the moment that we were in to be like, all right, no, we're not going to.
And keep it to being like, we're very sexual people. You know what I'm saying? Like some people are very like, conservative, very, vanilla. We not vanilla.
Nah, and we was talking about all the stuff.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. Because like we already been married, we already got kids. Like we came to this experience, so we're having conversations. Like, okay, are we compatible in this area?
Do you
like this? You like that? So
what if I?
If I had did this, what would you had did? No, so yeah, it always boils down to the intentionality and finding someone who's equally yoked with you in that intentionality, so y'all can hold each other accountable on the days when you got a whole lot of I don't care in your system. They got enough in the tank to be like, well, I know you care, and let's not do something that in 20 minutes we both gonna be like, why did we?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
And I think that like it sounds really corny, but keep God first. Like, I think it's generic and people tell you that, but in any relationship that you have, if it's your Christian, it's your friendships, if your relationship is your whatever it is, your business partnerships, like keep God first. Absolutely. He'll never steer you wrong. And if you have to ask, like, should we be doing this? You probably shouldn't be doing it. Should I date somebody that's not the same religion as me? If you have to ask that, I think that's something inside of you internally that's telling you, hey, we don't feel right about this. Let's get somebody else's opinion. Like we ignore that feeling sometimes, and we feel like somebody else is going to give us permission to do something that we already know we shouldn't be doing. Dating it's the same temptations whether you're a Christian or you're not a Christian. I think being a Christian, you just have the backbone and the faith to believe that if you do things in this certain order, that God is going to recognize and not reward you, but show you his faithfulness in that. So for us, I think our relationship is as great as it is because we kept God first through dating till today. We tried our hardest not to waver on that. If God said don't do it, then let's not do it. If God said forgive him, then go ahead and forgive him. Like everything that for me as dating outside of a Christian, I would have wrote somebody off for, like I gave him grace in those situations because God told me to, and God rewarded me for that. So if you keep God first in your relationship, dating is going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. It's going to come with the same struggles that you always deal with. But now you have something more solid than just what you believe and what you think backing you up on it.
This makes me think about, we had the last episode, the episode recap to come to Jesus moment. We were talking about, how God uses relationships, how he uses people. And somebody had commented and said, you know what, like when I think back to those times where I was really like, I got to get closer to God. Like I have to get closer to him. How they were saying like it was always a relationship or a person that who is in a relationship that will come and distract them and pull them away. So I think this whole question right here is very timely because it just lends to all of that, right? Like when you get somebody in your life who's focused on your spiritual side in their spiritual side, just like you focus on your spiritual side, it's not a distraction. It's a steroid. It's an enhancer. It's like it's a battery in the back. You know what I'm saying? Like when I linked up with her, I just came to the realization, okay, I need to get back close with God. It was very timely. I tell the story all the time, but COVID had just happened. The world was falling apart. I was going through a lot internally. And then I recognized like, yo, I never felt like this when I was close with God. When I was close to him, there was like this peace and this joy that I had that is just not present anymore. So even though I could assess that, I still didn't know how to get back. I didn't know where to start. I didn't have anybody in my life who I even could talk to like that about that stuff, who I felt comfortable at least. And boom, then I get this relationship. Then I get this person in my life who is just focused on God in her own life. You know what I mean? Like she's really focused on this. Like I see her making time to pray. I see her making time to study and read the word. When we having conversations, it's a part of the conversation. And it didn't feel like contrived. Like, so today let's talk about Romans 18. No, I was just like, man, you know what? Today I was praying about this and okay, or we'll be talking about something like, you know, I hear you got like little just subtle stuff that just showed me, no, God is a part of her everyday life and it's normal. It's not contrived. It's not this big presentation of Christianity. It's just life. He is a part of her life. And just being around that was a battery in my back. Like it made me see like, oh, you know what? There's a need here for me to get close to God for myself. I can't just, you know, vicariously live through her relationship.
Right.
I got to get to him for myself. You know what I mean? Then the intentionality came in. Then it's okay. Hey, yo, we should pray together. Or, hey, yo, what would you think if we did a devotional together? Like that's when the intentionality came in. Then it wasn't just, okay, a personal relationship with God. Now he's a part of our relationship. We still do that. We talking about doing a fast top of the year. All right, well, let's make sure we're doing a devotional. This is a part of our dynamic with one another. And it's the number one display of how to date as a Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you also just have to realize that you're different, right? When we decide to follow God, it sets us apart from the things of the world.
Yeah.
We're still in the world. We still get to enjoy some of the, you know, we went on dates. We went out. We, you know, he was in a band at the time. We were in bars, like, but we just governed ourselves accordingly. And I think that this even becomes a question, like, how do you date as a Christian? Because we've been told that once you're a Christian, you're put into this box and you can't do certain things. But the truth of the matter is, like, God made you individual for a reason, and you still get to be who you are at the core and enjoy the things that you enjoy. As a Christian, you just have to be wise and discerning about the situations that you put yourself in and the way that you behave. And I think that you just live your life. And again, if you keep God at the head, he's not going to steer you wrong. So you just date like any normal person would date, just knowing that there are certain things that you just can't do.
Yeah. This is good. This lends into the last one. We'll do one more. You good? You game?
Absolutely.
You still with me?
Yeah, your light ain't with you no more. But
is that what that noise was? I thought I heard something.
I don't know what happened.
Is the thing? Click that.
No, that say it's not charging now. Y'all, we being ghetto. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm with you. Let's go.
I'm at my battery.
I don't know what that happened, but
I'm so sad.
It's okay.
No, this is expensive.
It's gonna be all right. We'll fix it.
Yeah, it's about to fall over. Anyway. Yeah. Real ghetto. I'm sorry.
We tell them all the time. They part of the family now. Y'all got to see the ins and the outs of it.
I'm just gonna let you rest right here. Gonna rest my child. So we were talking about it's kind of timely with this subject. Our last live as well. There was a point where we were talking about being in a season where you're kind of like by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like in isolation.
That was 2 lives ago.
Huh?
2 kickback episodes ago. Not this one.
We talked about this one too.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, when we were talking about Come to Jesus moment, and one of the people who were on, actually the one that wrote this question right here, she was like, you know, I'm in this season right now where like I'm I'm solo. You know what I mean? And I got it. What she said was like, yeah, God know not to send me no man of God right now because
He don't trust me with him.
He ain't gonna trust me with him. So the question was, how do you wait in your waiting season? How to wait in your waiting season, right? So for those of you guys who listen, don't know what that is, right? I think what we say when we say waiting season, what we mean is a season where you assess that you being by yourself is very much so intentional. It's not random. You know that you're in a place right now that you feel very much so that God intentionally placed you in.
You and him.
For a purpose, not just for the sake of being alone, but it's for the purpose of working on you. You going under construction, you getting closer to him, you're eliminating distractions and becoming the most optimal version of yourself, the best version of yourself, for the purpose of work, or maybe a purpose he has for you. Maybe it's a ministry, maybe it's a relationship. You know what I mean? But it's intentional alone. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I look at it too as like something you believe in God for something, but you just haven't got it yet.
yeah.
Like you're in this, just for
Waiting
me,
season.
like an isolation almost, where God is refining you and he's stripping you, but then he's also adding to you as only he can do.
Yeah.
Like you feel like, oh, I'm losing everything, but I feel stronger.
Yeah.
I feel wiser. I feel closer. I remember when I recognized that I was in this season and I was doing everything to not feel.
Yeah.
I was spending money. I was traveling. I was eating real good. I was buying stuff. I just was trying to distract myself because I felt a push and a call for greater. But right now it was just, like it was like I didn't have any friends. I just really had my kids and my church family, and I felt alone, but I didn't want to feel alone.
Yeah.
I wanted to fill myself up in the space around me with just things and time so that I didn't have to deal with the things that I knew God was telling me to deal with. And there's a song I think Tasha Cobb sings, it's called Gracefully Broken. And that's what God did for me in my waiting season. So all the things that I was using as a distraction, he took away from me. I was broke as a result of my trying to distract myself. We couldn't travel because we were in COVID. My kids were at that stage where they really didn't need me, quote unquote, for everything,
Yeah.
especially my baby. She was really in that stage where like, I can do it. I'm fine. No, mommy, I need some privacy. What? Let me put your clothes on you. I need this.
Put your arms up.
Mommy needs this more than you do. Let me help you get dressed. You want to lay with me? Come get in mommy's bed. She's like, no.
Oh my God.
So, I again, he was just taking it all away from me, and I was just left alone. And I had people around me, but I didn't feel like I had anybody but him. And I remember being in my room one day and just breaking down.
Yeah.
Like, I've never felt lonely before. And when I allowed myself to sit in that I've never been alone before. I've always had somebody. I've always had something to do. I've always added value somewhere. And I didn't feel like I was doing any of that. And I felt such a peace. Soon as I confessed it, like soon as I was like, I'm lonely, I felt this peace wash over me. And while not every day after that was sunshine and roses, but God began to add to me in a way that I just can't even, like, it's hard for me to even put in words the things that I was gaining. I was gaining confidence. Like, I remember walking past my mirror naked and being like, dang, you have, wait a minute. Hold on. You kind of cute. Like, stuff that I just never did before because all the confidence that I felt was false. And it was in things that had no substance. But what he was doing was adding substance and adding value and adding wisdom and discernment to me in such a way that I didn't even desire things or a relationship or any of that. Like, I just wanted him. And I realized that all of those things had to be, I like money, but it had to be taken away from me so that I could focus on him. And literally, I love you. I love being with you. It's amazing. Like, but I know that season had to happen for this to be as good as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that along with that, it's work, right? It's like while you're waiting, what you're doing while you wait. You know what I mean? There was this right when while Brandy was talking, God brought back to my mind this stupid movie we watched last night called the RRR. I don't know if it's called the RRR or the RRR. I don't know. But wildly popular movie globally. It's this indie movie. It's this Bollywood. Huge cinematic presentation. The shots were incredible. But some of the most unrealistic things that happen in this movie. There's this part, though, where one of the main characters got thrown into this dungeon, like this underground dungeon, and he was being tortured. He was getting beaten, but he was locked up. And whole time, they weren't even feeding him. And they were talking to this guy, and he was like, he's probably there. He ain't in days. He's probably there suffering. And when they went to see him in the cage, he was doing pull-ups. He was working. So they said, you know what? Break his legs. They broke his legs and threw him in the underground dungeon.
Folded them legs.
He
on
folded
top
them
of
legs
each other.
up, grabbed them bars, and started doing pull-ups again. So then it went to this fight scene. It was the most unrealistic fight scene. But he was doing the crazy stuff with his arms. He couldn't use his legs. But he's grabbing stuff, swinging, throwing himself all around him and this other guy. And it was that while he was waiting to be free, he was working. All of the pain, all the stuff that he felt, he just mustered it under this hope that when I come out, I got work to do, right? And when I think about the seasons where I was waiting, most of the time, and I agree with Brandy, when I was just trying to distract myself during that time, I just kept going through this cycle of this destructive behavior with destructive consequences. But when I think about the times when I was waiting and I was reading my word and I was praying and I was tapped in and I was like really in the gym of wisdom and trying to do better, what he did when he opened the cage, oh my God. Like, and that's why I said I can't even think of a moment in 2022 because 2022 was my out the cage moment, right? 2021, it was me locked in with this woman. We was praying, we was reading the word. I entered this mentorship program that I was doing and studying, and I mean, I'm tapped in. I've never been so tapped in. Then 2022, he was like, hey, do a little video of what you feel. You know what I mean? I have thoughts all the time. I don't say them. Say it on camera. Put it out there. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. And 2022 was just my go. You know what I mean? And I know that this year wouldn't be what it was if it wasn't for the years where I was waiting and working while I was waiting. So I think it's both of those things. It's what you said. It's that, number one, it's being honest about where I'm at right now. It's, you know what? I'm alone and I feel lonely.
I think it's embracing.
It's embracing it. And what that is number one, when you embrace it, then you can be honest about what needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Because when you don't embrace it, and you working against the tide and you're in denial, that's when you're just doing anything to just, like you in the ocean and you just, you know what I'm saying, kicking and wailing, trying to stay afloat. Versus when you say, you know what, I don't know when I'm going to get out of this place. So while I'm here, what am I going to do? Number one, I acknowledge, God, I need you in this season, right? So have your way in this season, right? So
I like that ocean analogy. Even though I can't swim, I felt that.
You felt that?
I felt that in my spirit. Like the treading water, just flailing and trying to stay afloat versus just when you float, when you lay back and just let him carry you, when you just rest on top of the water and you're not, it's minimal effort required. You're just letting your body in the ocean do what they do. You're buoyant. God hands are like the ocean. Like he just holds you up and keeps you afloat. Even in the middle of the ocean where you can't see land on no side of
Yeah.
you, you can still float and drift on his promises. You can drift on his word. You can drift on his love and his grace and his mercy. And that is literally what I felt in that moment. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have it and I'm okay with not having it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get out of this, and I'm okay with not knowing how to get out of this because God, I know you know. And
Yeah.
until you say, this is what it is, I'm just going to wait.
That part.
So I had to embrace that season. I love
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
I love that for me.
I thought about when my daughter did swimming lessons, and I remember I'm thinking they're gonna go right into kicking your feet, and you don't do this with your eyes, but that was the first thing they did. Lay back, just relax, and I'm gonna let you go. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why did they teach you how to float? This swimming lessons. But before the whole point of that is so that you don't drown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're teaching you how to survive in a world that you really weren't, like, we were made to walk on land. You know what I'm saying? But occasionally you're gonna find yourself in a area and in a space that is foreign to you, and you gotta know how not to drown in that. And that's similar to the season. We found ourselves in this space and in the season. I ain't see myself in here. I know I don't belong here. I know I'm not gonna stay here. But how do I not drown here? How do I not die here? And it's not
I gotta go. I gotta get out.
I gotta go. I gotta drink. I gotta smoke. I gotta buy stuff. I gotta go take trips. I gotta do this. No, it's let go, let God, relax,
So embrace it.
embrace it, and then once you
Work.
embrace it, do the work.
Work.
Do the work.
And I think that every season is purpose, whether you understand it or not. So look for the purpose in the season. If you're in your waiting season, there is a reason that you're in your waiting season.
Absolutely.
So ask God, what is it that you need from me, that I need from you in this season so that I can go and be released into my next?
That part.
He's going to supply that answer, and you have to be willing to accept whatever that is, because he's going to keep you there as long as he needs you to until you get what he needs you to get. So your waiting season could be, some people waiting season is 3 months. Some people waiting season 30 years because you're hard-headed and you're not getting what he needs you to get.
Yeah, it's
So,
intentional though.
It is. All of it.
It's intentional. Like I think about all the time, and this is what really benefited me when I was on my waiting season. That whole 2020, 21, I'm like, God, I know you got stuff inside of me, but I feel like I'm just lying dormant. Like I feel like it's just for nothing. You know what I mean? I feel like I got something to say, but I don't got nobody to say it to. You know what I mean? I feel like I got songs inside of me, but I'm not in a position to do that. But it was like, I thought, oh, God put on my heart David in the Bible, he fought Goliath. But before he got on the battlefield,
He was a shepherd.
he was a shepherd. A prophet came, saw him, anointed him king of Israel, said, you're the king. Then he left. And
he
David
was still
stayed
a
right
shepherd.
there, and he was still a shepherd. And I imagine every day going out to that field and doing work that I've been anointed to do way more than. I've been anointed to be the king, but right now I'm sitting here with these sheep. Yeah, I'm in this field all day. I feel like I'm called to do greater, but I'm faithful to the season. And because he was faithful in that season, when he did get in front of Goliath, I know what to do now. I've been sitting here.
Lion.
I done fought the lion. I done fought the bear with this. Yeah, walk up on me if you want to. You're not getting out one sheep. You know what I mean? But all that stuff prepared him. That's why he was such a great king, because he knew how to shepherd. He knew how to lead with gentleness and with kindness.
And he knew what tools worked for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many times where we're in that waiting season, but we see other people soaring and walking in their promise.
I need to start a
and
business.
doing what God told them to do. And we like, that's what I need to do. I need to sell clothes. Oh no,
Yeah.
he be getting money off Forex. That's I need to do Forex. Teach me how to do Forex. Oh, she got her man in the club. I need to let all this go and just go to the club and find me a man.
Yeah.
But nah, know what tools work for you, because them same tools that he equips you with in your waiting season are going to be the tools that propel you and excel you when he's pushing you out to the world.
Yeah, that was me. When I was doing my waiting season wrong, I was just doing. It was schizophrenia. It was whatever I had the ability to do, I would do. Oh, I could do a country song. People like that. I'm gonna do a country song. Oh, okay, y'all like that? I'm gonna do 5 more. All right. Okay, cool. No. All right. I'm going to do comedy videos. I'm funny. Y'all like that? Oh, y'all want more of that? I'm going to do more comedy videos. Oh, no. Not okay. Now I'm going to do presentations. I was going all around doing conferences, speaking. It was like whatever people would receive from me, I would give. It had nothing to do if it was purpose or what I'm supposed to be doing. It was just what can distract me from this season where I feel like I'm not doing anything. I'm going to do whatever. Yeah. So this was good.
That's how you wait.
It was good. It was really good. Absolutely. I found out what happened to my light.
Amazing. It's not plugged up.
Yours ain't either, so I'm surprised yours lasted this long.
Strong.
Trying to figure out how yours made it this long. I'm hating. But yeah. So we have more questions. We couldn't get to all of them. We're going to bring some to the live tomorrow. We'll also touch on some of these ones that we talked about today.
And you can come to the live with questions too.
Yeah, come to the live with questions. Maybe you forgot to write in. Bring it to the live. We'll chop it up and we'll talk about it.
All right. So this was a good Ask R&B. I like this. It's almost as good as Hot Topics, but less arguing. So
I like these because these are things we can keep doing. Like
Yeah.
Season 4, we can always do Hot Topics. Always do Ask R&B. Yes, absolutely.
All right. So don't forget to join us tomorrow, which is Wednesday. We will be live on Facebook and YouTube at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you don't catch it, I'm sorry, but you can always catch the replay Thursday mornings. That will be on YouTube and on the streaming platforms.
Absolutely.
Always remember that you can support the show via Cash App. Our Cash App is $ what they never told us, or you can just come to Facebook and like, share, and comment. No money out of your pocket, but puts money into ours. So we definitely appreciate that.
Whoop. That part. And always remember, we love love.
And y'all should love too.
Peace.
Peace.